Your mileage may vary depending on what crystal you choose. Okay, and that's why it's another reason why I was saying that picking your own crystals is a good sign, because like I said, you're kind of naturally drawn to the crystals that you're going to work well with.
Let's add here that most women want to choose their engagement ring. It's the same thing. It's something that means something to you. Right. And in reverse, not just diamonds, but I have friends that have seen a stone, or just because of the color or the texture, and you're drawn to it. And yeah. Even in my own experience, we've had this discussion before. I said, I don't know why I wanted one of the ugliest stones on the planet that looks like a stone version of a placenta. It's green and it's ugly and it's called moldavite. And all I knew is I had to have that thing. I don't know why I did. I just knew it was this. I was like, I love it. I don't know. This ugly little thing needs to be mine. I need to take care of this ugly little thing. And I didn't know why. And then I think you and I had started to talk about when you're drawn to, like, even moonstone. I've always loved the look of moonstone. And I think we should talk about when it goes in reverse. Instead of saying, I have this issue and I'd like a stone for it, what happens when we say, I really think this is amazing. I really want this stone, whether it's a diamond or an amethyst or lapis or moldavite. It says something about us, doesn't it?
It does. So if you think about what crystals or what gemstones, just to talk about crystals, let's talk gemstones, since gemstones are crystals. So you think about what kind of gemstones or crystals or rocks that you've been attracted to already. That speaks a little bit to the issues that you subconsciously are trying to work on. So I have a friend who was always drawn to red jasper. Okay, she had no idea why. She had gotten one of these Zuni bears cut out, and she absolutely loved it. And she had it for years and years and years. And we talked, and she had been through a lot of things as far as her, her formative years and growing up and not feeling safe in a lot of different ways. That is a stone that is for your first chakra, which deals with those same issues. So she had issues in that chakra area, and she was naturally drawn to the crystal she needed to help her. And that happens a lot of times. So for you, you were drawn to moldavite, which is a high energy stone, which opens up your heart chakra, but it also helps open yourself up to spiritual awareness and to your psychic gifts. And so, the same thing with moonstone. Moonstone is either a crown chakra or even the soul star chakra, which is above that, which is kind of pulling in the divine. And again, so it's pulling you up into your higher chakras, which is where you connect to the divine energy more. So again, you are being pulled towards the crystals that were going to help you to access the things that you needed to do this. So I have always had a fascination with orange calcite. Has been my buddy. If you could see in my room right now, I probably have at least 20 pieces, including this like honking big piece about like this big. I love this stone. And for me, it makes sense. I was, again, it deals with sexuality and creativity. I had issues when I was a kid. I was abused sexually. So of course there was a lot of issues there. And so again, I was drawn to the color of stone that I needed to help me work on the problems I had that I wasn't even aware I needed to work on. So again, sometimes you are drawn to the things that can help you. So if you find that you have an affinity to a certain color stone, or a certain stone just in general, there may be a reason for that. And it might be that it's an area that you need to work on. So Yeah. So, it works both ways. You can go out and you can search for it, or sometimes it comes to you. And sometimes you're not even aware you're doing it because, subconsciously it's happening. Your body is asking for the help and you're not even aware of it yet. So, if you're somebody who has things, or, look in your jewelry box. Do you have a lot of one specific kind of crystal? One specific kind of stone? Do you love tanzanite, for example? Do you love emeralds, for example? And not just because it's your birthstone, but you're just drawn to it. There could be a reason why you're drawn to a specific kind of stone.
Do you think birthstones give us parts of our personality or can show, or do you think that's just something we would be drawn to? I have a friend, why I ask, I have a friend who was born in January, at the very tip of January, and she refuses to accept that the red stone is hers because she didn't like it. She's like super fascinated by amethyst. And that has to mean, again, like we just said, that has to mean something, that she repelled the red.
Amethyst, then, well, it can go either way. Sometimes you are repelled by, emotionally repelled by the crystals you most need, but are most blocked with, or you are naturally drawn to the ones that you need. It can go either way. So it could be a combination of both, or it could be, for example, one of my children for a long time had this problem being around rose quartz. Okay. Rose quartz is this very nice, beautiful, soft pink color quartz. Okay. It usually has to do with love, self-love, especially. Okay. And she could not be around that. And it literally would give her a headache and make her nauseous. She couldn't be around this stone. That's not a joke. For a long time, I had a similar problem too. Hold on. Lapis. I could not be around this stone. And actually, it wasn't the blue in the stone. If you see this, especially on this side, you see it's got little gold flecks in it. That's iron pyrite. So that's this inside this stone. Okay. This was the problem I had. I couldn't be around this stone for a long time. And what's that? That's your third chakra. That is your self-confidence, your ability to manifest. So again, I had a real blockage there, to the point where being around it would make me feel unwell. In your friend's case, it sounds more that she was drawn to something that would help her more than that. And for the record, garnet comes in just about every color. Just because the most common color is red, it actually comes in lots of colors. So your friend, who is a January baby, does not have to choose red garnet. Okay. It also comes in pink. It does come in like a grape sort of purple. Rhodolite garnet and grape garnet are very, purpley in color. There's a green garnet. There's a couple different kinds of green garnet. There's grossular garnet. Need to know all these differences, but grossular garnet can come in like a raspberry pink. It also comes in like a regular sort of mintish green. It can come in yellow. It can come in orange. So garnet actually comes in lots of colors, not just red. Red is just the most common color. So tell your friend she can still wear her birthstone. You can just find a grape garnet or a rhodolite garnet, and she might like it better. But if she's specifically drawn to a stone, that's more likely that it's a stone that she needs to be working with energetically. So that's probably what I would say about that. As far as why stones were chosen for birthstones, I don't think there's necessarily any rhyme or reason to that. As far as, everybody who is a May baby will work well with their birthstone. No, not necessarily. As far as, is there a rhyme or reason why I should use my birthstone specifically? No, there isn't. All right. And people can't even agree on what the birthstones are anymore. Okay. Because there are actually several choices. Like I'm a June baby. So June could be Alexandrite, which is that's the official original stone, but that is such a rare stone to find anymore that they've offered several other options. So now I could also be pearl. I could be hold on. Moonstone. I know there's at least one more. Serpentine is another one that they use now. So, there are lots of stones for each one. So again, I don't think that there's any specific affinity to your birthstone being a stone that's going to work well for you. Because that's not always going to be the case. Again, I think it does depend on what your makeup is like and what the stone does as to whether or not that's going to be something that you need. You could be a very open heart person. You don't need to be using an an emerald, if you're already well open hearted, because your green energy is already flowing. You don't need that extra help. So again, I don't think there's any rhyme or reason necessarily why a person who was born at a specific time of year should use a specific crystal just because someone said it's your birthstone. So no, I don't think there's any special, traits that make a specific birthstone work well for everybody who was born in that month.
What would you say about a pearl? Like pearls. I mean, that's not man. Well, they can be man-made, but that's an animal creation. So would you consider that the same thing?
I wouldn't actually. As far as crystal healing is concerned, I wouldn't. Does it mean that it couldn't have properties that could be used? No, I just don't think it would work the same way.
More symbolism.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of a personal belief, but like I have an issue with man-made stones. I have an issue with stones that have been altered. So sometimes you'll see crystals that have been coated in other colors. Basically, what they do there is they add a tiny electroplate of a metal of some kind that changes the way the stone looks. And some people think, well, if you say, for example, this, I forget which ore crystal it is, because all the different minerals that get put on top of it makes it a different color. But there's one aura that is actually an electroplate of gold. So if you think about it like this, if you take that crystal, it's kind of like using crystal and gold at the same time, which if that's what you wanted, if you were going to use both anyway, rock on. But no pun intended, but but otherwise you're adding stuff you don't need. It's kind of like taking the complete cold medicine when you just have a runny nose. You're using more than what you need, and maybe diluting what you really need because you've got all this other stuff going. So and as far as man-made stones are concerned, I have issues with things like that just because I don't know what the chemical composition is of that, and are they always made the same? I'm not sure. So things like goldstone, which is very common, is a man-made stone. Opalite, not opal, but opalite is a man-made stone. So again, do we even know if they're always made the same? I'm not sure, but I don't know how much energy they have when they've not grown out of the earth. So that's my personal opinion, though. So not everybody's going to feel that way, and that's okay. If you're somebody who's really drawn to, ore crystals, for example, that have been coated and you're drawn to that, well, then obviously you're supposed to work with that stone because it's calling to you. But that's just my personal belief about it. I would rather have the choice of choosing exactly what I want as opposed to a mishmash of, okay, well, here's like 5 things on one crystal, go for it. So that's just me. But
or at that point, it would just be symbolic. something visual, a visual stimulation, something symbolic for you to react and engage.
Well, maybe, but like I say, if someone's drawn to a specific aura quartz, for example, maybe they do need both of those things working for them at the same time. So I'm not trying to poo-poo it and say, oh, well, you shouldn't be drawn to that. Maybe that's what you need. So I'm not trying to say don't do it. I'm just talking about my own personal preferences there. And I personally don't like to work with those crystals because I would rather pick and choose exactly what I'm working with. But like I say, sometimes people are called to stuff for a reason, and that doesn't mean that just because I don't want to work with it, that doesn't mean you shouldn't.